think yeah. So in fact, I think journey so far have been wonderful. Like I come from the hospitality background, and I've been a hotel management graduate, and I believe my 12 year of hotel has they inculcate a lot of things which makes you successful in life as a whole. And I think the retail and the hotel, there are a lot of competency which are common, which makes they're like prerequisite in both the field. And I think hotel is probably on little on a high scale, and maybe the same is required even retail also. But hotel makes you tough enough to to face the whether it's adversities or whether it's very demanding customer, whether longer working hours. So it makes you very very tough and makes you ready for the to face the life. So I feel everybody say the hotel is like a regimental life. So I definitely believe in that because hotel actually grooms you that way. It takes it makes you to work for longer hours. It makes you handle the pressure. It learns you a lot of patience also. And I believe most of the industry need that unless until you are someone who need a solo performance, maybe an IT guy or something, where you don't even need all that much. But yeah, anywhere where you are in a public domain, you have customer around, you have a team to lead. I believe all these things are required. So I believe my 12-year hotel has actually helped me a lot in grooming to acquire the competencies or the attribute which are required to be successful even in the retail. Retail is all about the people, all about the people. So I think that gives me an advantage. Having spent so much time in hotel, give me that that advantage that I could really understand people and probably work with them, be with them on the floor. And I've enjoyed while I was in hotel because it was a lot of action because I was part of food and beverage department, which is all about the restaurant operation, room service operation, banquet operation. So you're always on the run. There's a lot of action around. Then when I moved into the retail, retail is also the same, it has also had the glamour, on the face of it. Plus there's a lot of interaction. You get to see the best of the people, you get to interact with the different profile, different portfolio, different demographic. So I think overall it has been a really a fun. And when I came to Shoppers Stop for 12 years, I really enjoyed a lot. This is India's number one in the first retailer, first organized retailer who made such a big name. Even today, though I'm not part of the organization, but yes, I have learned a lot from them, right from SOP to the high customer orientation to the various processes, various extension and whatnot. So I think profitability, running a store operation, and very high on the people. That's what Stop Stop is known for. So they make you a good leader where you're able to balance between both task as well as the people because they are different sort of organization. There are very few organizations which are able to actually make a strike a right balance. Okay, that between you get your task also done, but yeah, you're able to get the people also on your side. So that's what we call task and man the task and HR balance. So that's something which was very good about the high about the organization like Shopper Stop. Then I moved on to high design, and it's been about 2.5 years now that I'm with them. And this is a different journey altogether because I'm in a slightly higher responsibility wherein it is about the complete retail operation, and we work in a different vertical. We have our own EBO, then we have MBO wherein all Shoppers Stop central lifestyle, which one works on a different dynamics. Then we have airport where the customer behaves very differently because the browsing time is very limited, and then likewise then. So I think it's been a very different kind of a role, but very enjoying. More than anything else about the high design, the way the brand is positioned. India's only international brand in this particular segment of leather accessories. That what makes us very different from the rest of the world. So it's very distinct brand. It is not run of the mill. It is not just one more brand. It's a very distinct brand. You can easily, by looking at the bag, also probably you can make out this belong to high design. The way we do our ad, if you see them, they are very different than from the rest. So this is a brand which has made a mark for itself. It's a niche brand. We are not a mass brand at all by any means, but the way the brand has progressed, the way brand has evolved, and the way brand has changed with the time. We are 45-year-old brand. We started in 1976, by Mr. Dilip Kapoor. Today we are in about 25 odd countries. In India itself, we have about 100 odd EBOs, plus we have about almost same number of MBOs. So we are a widely well spread brand in different vertical. And at the same time, we have also been able to adopt to the whatever new cultural changes happen. Like whether social media, whether the young generation, Insta, and all that. So we have been able to keep pace with all the changes which are happening all around us. And that's the reason we instead of being a 45-year-old brand, we are as young as any other new brand. So I think journey have been always, so far been wonderful. But I always, every day is a new learning. Every day when I speak to my president, the founder of the brand, there's something, some piece of learning from him which I get. Whenever I speak to him even for 10 minutes, there's something I'll definitely learn from him. And when we go on the floor, I think there's more learning there. How the customer behave, what are the expectations. And sometimes it happens that we know they know more than us about the brand. Because maybe I joined High Design 2 years back, but they've been buying for 40 or 30 years. So they start teaching us, do you know this bag, this belonged to 70s, late 70s, this late 80s, this kind of bag used to come. So I think, so High Design is more than a product, it's more of a relationship, more of an association, and very nostalgic. It's a 45-year-old brand. So I think that speaks for itself. It has seen so many changes in society, so many political changes, so many things happening. And now we are a new era of Insta age, wherein we find the generation is all about the social media and all. So I think we feel that we have been moving with the time, and that's how we have been relevant all the time, whether it's 70s, whether it's now 2000 also. We remain relevant because we have been able to adopt to the changes. Had it been those same orthodox, same, our own shelf, then I'm sure we would have not existed so long.
Okay, great, fantastic. So first of all, just to introduce our students, because MBO means multi-business outlets. And what was the other term?
MBO is the exclusive brand outlet.
Exclusive brand outlet.
Yeah, that means we sell our own product and we run that store. It's only the High Design product. MBO is all about shop stop, lifestyle, central, and these are the brands which we work. There are few more, but we don't work with them. So these are the few brands where we are associated, wherein they sell High Design, but obviously apart from High Design, they also sell other brand also. So we try to,
yeah, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so I'm saying like, so that's how, so that's there we have more brand, and of course we may not be able to offer you that much of range where as much we can offer in our area, but yes, we would like to reach out to the more and more number of people. So we cannot afford to have a store every city, but yes, we can probably have a window through the MBOs. So that's the purpose.
Okay, and just incidentally, this MBO terminology was made very famous in the FMCG and telecom sector by us, the sinners of the prepaid era in telecom, because we taught people selling all these small, say, panwala and that getting a 25 paisa margin on a sabun, that how you actually sell a card, and especially an open card, and earn rupees 150. Now compare that figures in way back in say 2007, 2008, rather 2005, 2006, it was a bomb, and MBO became the buzzword. Coming to the second part of the discussion, Vision, luxury retail overall, it is something which is not very commonplace. If you talk to these students, even if you go for the books and all the academia and everything, it is full of FMCG, it is full of durables, it is full of international marketing, B2B, B2C, or aajkal, real digital, data analytics, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, you name it, you have it. However, a huge I'm a revenue earner, and especially before you arrived, I was telling them that in luxury sector, diamond happens to be the largest foreign exchange earner still, processed diamond in India. So just a brief first part one of my query is that just general introduction to luxury retail from your side, and also because not being a necessity, how did this industry actually evolve, and especially face the last 2 years and even continuing this era of this pandemic?
Now, we may say it looks, as you rightly said, we don't see that luxury retail is so big in India. But today, when you step into any of the big mall, any of the good leading mall, I'm not sure of the Indore because I've not been to the town. But you
don't worry, we have a share. We have a share of malls. Indore is the known as mini Mumbai, and Indore has a huge industrial base. It has got 3 SEZs. We have each and every name in pharma. You name Cipla, you name Lupin, you name Mylan. Then we have Tata, we have Mahindra, we have Eicher ka to gad hai ye. And so we have a huge industry and all that. Just as an introduction. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Just feel like if you step into any of the, let's say, big metro or any town for that matter, when you go into the atrium of the mall, the first what you see on the ground floor, most of the time, you'll find these are all, most of them are actually luxury brands.
Yeah, true.
Whether it's a Swarovski, whether Forest Essential, whether it's MAC. But now you will find, since Reliance has come in a big way, no doubt Reliance Retail, which is the trend in the mass one, maybe the cash cow for them. But when it comes to the face of the Reliance and the face which they want to like probably to be showcased. It is not only the trend. They would rather like to be known by the other brand they keep. All the what we call under the banner of called RBL, the Reliance Brand Limited, which is all of your luxury retail. So when enter into the step into the mall, you will find all these are luxury brand. So none of the mall would like to have any of the mass brand in the atrium, which speaks for itself. Maybe at this point in time, we may not have reached a time when it becomes a big market, but yes, we are evolving in a way where we really see this becoming a huge market because there's a very positive response to it. You'll find all the big names are there, right? From CK, Tommy, when you go to the, now you have Armani, you have Armani Exchange, you have Fossil. So you see the atrium will always be full of these brands. And there's a, as you rightly said, as of now, maybe it is evolving, but with the luxury retail, there's something called aspirational value. So, as we know, all the youngsters, the exposure to the brand now is much higher than what you and me would have seen in our time. To the people know okay, what is Armani stand for, what it does it mean, what it what it belong. What when we say Armani watches, what does it mean? When we say guest bag, what does it mean? Earlier, probably it was probably only seen in some of the Bollywood movie or some Hollywood movie. But today, people feel this aspiration for me. Let's say I am an Niftian today. I'm studying in third year or fourth year, and probably say the day I graduated from it, the first thing I should look for a Gucci sunglasses or Gucci belt or something. So you'll have an aspiration as per your your pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this actually triggered as aspiration, and then you start looking forward for it. So there are a lot of people for them. All these luxury brands are aspiration. You believe that one day when you'll have X amount of money, this is what I want to own, right? So I think that element somehow slowly is building up. Earlier, I remember there was a time when people have a lot of people in the youngster, among the male in particular, with aspiration to have a Bullet or Royal Enfield. There was a time when everybody would say, oh, one day I will have this bike, right? But today
I still have that notion. I'll get it one day.
Yeah. So likewise, similarly here also, the luxury retail about the creating that aspiration among the youngster. So we find people believe, okay, and that comes in because for every brand there's a certain amount of perceived value. You believe this X amount of value for this brand. So there's nothing called when we say the brand is being expensive, being or cheap and all that. I believe these are notional. Notional in the sense a product become expensive when you feel it is not delivering the value you believe it should deliver. Okay. Right? So then there's no connect. Then you may start rating it as an expensive. Let's say for an example, if I say, today we are willing to pay maybe 40, 50 lakh for Mercedes, right? But you're not willing to pay 40, 50,000 maybe for best of the Maruti car.
True.
Because you believe Maruti car doesn't perceive that much of value, right? And the value comes with all those features, right? From safety to the look and whatnot. And over a period, the amount of the equity which they have created. The moment, so when we say, let's say a Mercedes expensive, it's not expensive, it is a premium.
Yes.
It deserves to be priced like that because it has that many features, right? But if you try to sell Maruti at 40, Maruti best of the version also at 40 lakh, that is called expensive. So I think now slowly people are getting this, So I think the one thing which we try to inculcate and try to coach even our team also and to the customer, there's nothing called expensive when it comes to luxury. It is being premium. You're actually paying money because it's a premium. There's a certain feature which makes it very different from the rest of the crowd. And there's a certain equity which brand comes with, right? It's not run of the mill. And that's why all the luxury brands, another word which comes with it is a niche brand. They are not a mass brand. They do see, if I look at my store, I don't look for a 40, 50 customer in a day. I don't look for 100 customers. 100 days would be my maybe 1 week walk-in. Since we are a niche brand, so we obviously look for a very selected audience. Maybe the deep pocket, but yes, high conversion, of course, high ticket, but that is enough for me. Because, that audience is like that only. And we have invested accordingly. I have not created a store of 10,000, 20,000 where my overheads are high. No, I have not, because I know I am catering to the very, very niche market, and everybody has understood this. So I think model-wise, if you look at the luxury retail, I think it's an absolutely profitable model. It is not like, wherein you take a risk of making a huge, because see, you will agree because you come from such a massive experience. When it comes on FMCG or any mass brand, they work on a very, very thin margin.
True.
They work on a volume.
Yes.
In our case, we work differently. We do not work in volume because volume is not something which we aim, because we are a niche brand. We'll never get that volume. So what we probably work in an experience which we give to the customer. And when it comes on experience of the product, which is very unique, obviously, margin will be slightly higher because that is what luxury is all about. Because otherwise, you can't, you can't create that feeling, if you can't afford to create that setup. So we don't, any other luxury retail do not work, volume. Okay, they are very, very niche, but the kind of experience they give to the customer when they're shopping is obviously very much different than you go to the mass brand. And more than anything else, they spend a lot into the product. So luxury is all about detailing. When you get more into it, I'll probably show you some of the product also and make you understand, why we are different from the any other brand and how the luxury retail actually works. So there's a lot of detailing which goes into it, but that probably may not happen when it is a mass brand. So I definitely believe, of course, all this, the current era of your COVID and everything is, people are coming out of it. And just to put this on, share with you, like we are among the premium and the luxury brand, but we are among the very, very few brand who have been able to come back to the 2019 number.
Okay.
Already, like last week, we have already hit that number.
Oh, brilliant.
And as on today, any benchmark in retail industry is against 2019 because 2020 was again not a benchmark because it was the whole year was impact with the COVID. So any retailer as on today is when it come on what we call LFL, like full like comparison, we all are referring 2019 number, and we are very happy to tell you, without even getting into the festive season, which is about maybe a month away from now, we have already hit the number what we are doing 2019. Great. And there's some market, there are few market we are already ahead of it. If you look at place like Gujarat, we are done better than 2019 already. We are doing better than 2019 in Punjab. In some places in North also we are doing well. Some places in South are challenged where we are still about 80-90%. But most of the places as a chain level we are ahead already. Which means retail, your luxury retail has taken less time to come back to the 2019 number. The recovery in luxury retail have been much faster than what it has been in the other ones.
Can you make it are you making a general statement or your company specific? Because just for your information, absolutely correct, because maybe you're not aware. I worked for one of the DTC site holders, that is 150 of them. De Beers के जो dealer होते हैं और across.
Correct. The jewelry one.
Yeah. So I was in it is Far East, Europe and all that, and Middle East. And you are absolutely correct. हमारा जो Thailand and these Chinese and our Indian manufacturers from Seeps, they are also giving good diamond studded and precious stone studded jewelries. But then again, the names which actually matter. That is, say for example, coming from say in Adla Zurde from Middle East, then Cartier bada naam ho gaya, Chanel bada naam ho gaya, and different other brands and all that. Oh, that brand perception, brand value is temporarily different. That happens whether it's a car or whether it's a diamond jewelry. Obviously. Absolutely. But however, do you think it's a generalized statement that, or is it only for you? Because jewelry manufacturers, especially, I mean, they are not that bad hit because marriages will keep on happening as far as the traditional things are concerned. As far as exports to US, the Seeps companies and the companies in Bangkok and the companies in say Shenzhen and all that, I don't think they are going to share your sentiment that they are actually touching the same level. So it's a general statement.
So I tell you now. So it also depends on the category to category, but maybe the category which we are into, the accessories category, it is not us only. When I look at my nearest competition, which may not be right to share the name, but most of them actually on the same. They are already hit that number or they're close to those numbers. So it's not only the high design has been able to come back to that number. Maybe, as you rightly said, I'm not too sure the other categories. It may not be true. Yeah. But when we look at the I think you quoted it very correctly. When you look at the car sale in India, whatever number I think you have those numbers much better than any one of us. I am sure there have been some record-breaking number there.
Yes. I mean, there does not seem, even if we are having that bout of a pandemic, sales went down last month. It was a bit down. But again, they keep on, festive season is coming. They'll again jack up.
And look at the number of look at the number of launch which are happening.
New models, and people especially look who are actually like their Ford. Ford specifically, they're never concentrated on India. 3-4 models. And compare it to Maruti, Hyundai, even newcomers, with the speed the Kia and the MG have coming with the new models. So they had to go. Americans ka kuch problem hai apne. So that they could not do it. Absolutely correct on that. So thanks a lot. And congratulations because of bouncing back and doing all these things.
No, thank you very, very much. I think I also tell you something which makes us very different. So there's certain core values of high design, which makes us very different from the rest. And
Okay.
that's what we're known for, and we have been practicing that from the day when we are in 45 years. As I said, the brand is launched by Mr. Dilip Kapoor, who is a doctorate, but it doesn't carry the doctor in his name. He's a doctorate. He's doctorate in international relations, and he's done his PhD from Princeton, okay, and US in long back in 70s. And he went to States after doing his schooling of 10th standard only. So his all this 11 subsequent all is in US. When he came back to India, out of hobby, created this. But that's a long story. I don't want to get into it. But the certain value which he has created and which we practice today, we do not use anything which is not natural. So all the product are made of something what we call natural leather. There's nothing called leather like or PU or like leather. They're purely leather, which obviously makes the different in the rest. There are not many brands in that league. Then another important part, we are a very responsible retailer, which means like we do not do anything which harm the environment when we are very particular about it. So we do something called vegetable tanning. So when a raw hide is found, raw hide is when the skin, when the animal is dead and when you get the skin. So obviously the skin immediately cannot be used. There's certain treatment which to be done to make it potable enough to be used. So that's called tanning. So when the tanning happens, most of the company in the world, they use something called chromium tanning. You take the chemical, put the hide into it, within 24 hours, all set to go. In our case, we take a long painstaking process, which means we do something called vegetable tanning, where there's certain herb which are used, there's certain oil which are used, and the process takes nothing less than a month for a tanning.
Okay.
All for the one fact that we don't harm. And secondly, if you use chemical, there's every possibility it may have risk on the life, which may even include certain element, even can cause the cancer also. So both way we take care of it, we'll ensure that we take care of it. And we do not do a shortcut method of what we call chromium tanning. So we use something called vegetable tanning. Another thing, if you look at our product, they are all something called handcrafted. So there's artisans, if you go to our factory in Pondicherry, there's 600 people working in the factory, 600. And most of them have been working with us for more than 25 years. And they work with the hand, they do stitching, they do cutting. So everything what you see, they are doing with the hand. And you know that anything which is handcrafted has a different meaning altogether.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of skill which goes into it.
True.
And we are not the brand which just follows any pattern globally or just follow any design. Normally you will find when Gucci makes or Zara makes one product, in India you'll have a 1,001 piece, something similar to the same,
Imitations. Yes.
Imitations being done in India.
Yes.
In our case, we do not follow any trend. We follow our own instinct. Mr. Dilip Kapoor he follows certain philosophy in the life, and he is the head of the design even till today. So what we do, our designs are all original. They have a different theme. Sometimes they're on women empowerment, sometimes they're on something else, sometimes they're on environment, sometimes they're on freedom. So a lot of things which goes into it. And we have our own theme. We do not copy. Our inspiration is all in-house. We have certain philosophies, certain stories to follow. And that's how the designing goes. So our designs are absolutely original. They are not copy of anyone, which normally you find some brand will copy a design, go to China, place an order, get mass production done, and stuff the floor. We are very different that way. We do not go into that. Just to quote further on some of the practices, as I said, we are someone, we're very responsible and eco-sensitive, and we take care of environment. So our factory in Pondicherry runs purely on solar. So whatever, we do not take anything from the government board. Rather, we are feeding back to the government board because we have an excess production. So the small thing which we do for the environment. So, and that is something which, most of the retailers only talk about it, but we actually practice it. And the way, so this is, and likewise, we have people, all the youngster in our team, the brand is 45-year-old, but when you go to our Pondicherry office, average is about 30 years. And out of those, I think 70 or 80% would be female, both in factory as well in our corporate office also. So we take people from all walks of life, or right from the people working from Kashmir to Pondicherry, everybody works there. So we have very cosmo culture, So if you look at, if anybody have ever noticed about the head is an ad, we represent India, we take pride in being in brand. But when you look at the brand, our brand stands out to be truly international. You will find our models are not necessarily all the time Indian. You may find an African, you may find Vietnamese, you may find US, you may find some French guy. So we truly represent an Indian international brand. And that's how we are known also, because we are already, as I said, in 25 countries. And we take pride in saying that. So these are something which makes it different.
A very opportune question is just cropping up in my mind. because whatever little experience I have, because at one upon a time I was part of a company which was exporting these, which was a fad, selling it to former Soviet Union countries, that leather jackets and all that. So
Okay, okay.
I was aware of sheep nappa. Then I have a few friends because originally being from Kanpur. So उनका एक problem क्या था, shoe upper में they were getting a sample from say a part of the Western world, UK or US. It was in cow softly, and whatever we can actually offer was the buffalo leather, which was obviously of not that quality. Same was the thing with the sheep nappa thing coming from the jackets and all that. So my question, which is cropping up in my mind, is that we are you are an international brand with international spread and all that. So the procurement of your, is it opportune or is it fits your philosophy of the goods, especially the luggage, high design making, or you again have to source these raw material in this type of letters because of certain restrictions ki buffalo hai, gaay ka nahi milega, ye hai, wo hai. How you cope up with that?
I think very, very relevant question, because people ask the same question in a different way. They normally ask this question under the banner of, this, the ethical treatment of animals. So normally people ask,
PETA.
how do you get it? PETA. Yeah. So in our case, I tell you, we are we are, as I said, we are a very responsible retailer. So we do sourcing only from the authorized government, houses which are, there's some slaughterhouses, there are certain export unit. So
Yeah,
for us, the product is actually byproduct from meat industry. So
okay.
wherever we have a meat industry, it's a byproduct of it. We do not take it from any other channel to shortcut or to save cost, but we don't want to, because we being a big brand, we don't want to be catch in the wrong foot. So we obviously buy it from the responsible, and I think there's enough available, because surprisingly, I think as you said, you take it from the vendor, but most of the thing in high design or in-house, I'll try to show you something in a minute now. A small thing like, fitting on the bag, what you see, the high design logo, that is also made in our own factory in Pondicherry to that level. So, when it comes on leather, so it is not that we get a leather. We actually get a hide, the raw hide. Then we have a tannery in Chennai, which is not in Pondicherry, about 100 kilometers away from Pondicherry. So the tannery is run by High Design. So we take the raw material, we take the hide there, and that 40 days treatment, which I was talking about, is done in the tannery.
Okay.
So all this raw hide, basic hide comes in there. All the treatments are there. The cutting is done, embossing is done, coloring is done, everything is done. Then further, as per the requirement, it is sent to the Pondicherry for the production. So every single thing which you find, to surprise you, even when you look at the fixtures, what you see, all those rags and all the display unit in the store, they all are made in our own factory in Pondicherry. Okay. So we are completely a self-sufficient, organization. Maybe by the 40 year of, our existence, we would have accumulated so much of resources that today, you will be surprised to know, during this pandemic, when most of the Indian brand, name it, all the big brands, so-called big brand of bag, they normally source it from China, right? If they don't source it from China, they source the raw material from China. In our case, our dependency with China was zero, because we had everything and anything being sourced locally, various resources, whatever we had. So our production never stopped during the pandemic time also, because we had everything our own. I think that answers your question.
Yes, it does. And then we come to the question for which my student must be actually wondering, because we have been discussing what they might be thinking is adult talk. Sir, baat kar rahe hain market ki. What were the skills which you actually had to pick up during this journey, reaching that place? What were the skills? And that is part number one. Part number two, what skills out of those you would like to be a part of a curriculum, which actually, I won't say that shortens the journey, because there's no substitute to hard work, which makes it easier and maybe a bit smoother. So that is the question which the student would be very interested in.
Definitely. See, so there are two parts. One may say as a competency, or maybe other one could be an attribute, and I think both need to be hand in glove. So when competency comes in, I would say number is something which is very, very important. When we say analytical part, there's something which, as you grow, you may escape from it in the initial days, but you cannot escape. But if you escape from it in any stage, you actually escape from your growth also.
True.
So number is something which is required, this comes with it. So your analytical band is very much required, to understand number, to foresee the number, to play around with the number. That's something very much required. So that's one core element, I would say. And when it comes to product knowledge, trust me, there's nothing called product knowledge. By being on a floor for 1 week, you can learn everything. So there's nothing, today you're working and you're selling bag, tomorrow you can go and sell apparel, next day you can sell watch. So I don't think that's a big deal as far as product is concerned. That can be acquired. But what is important, in terms of the as a personality, most important is that you need to you need to actually enjoy being on the floor and interacting with the people, whether it's your team or whether it's the customer. If you are so like if I give an example, if you are somebody like a solo player, then you are fit for the making maybe a software designing, because that's something doesn't need any team. You can do work and you can do all the programming. But retail does not work that way. Retail involve a lot of networking at every stage. If you're a store manager, maybe within your team, with the merchandising team. So a lot of networking skill which is required. And if you're not outgoing, then there's a problem. I must tell you this. So you need to be outgoing. You need to be reach out to the people. More and more you speak to them, more and more you learn. And the role is like that. You have no choice. There's nothing called, in retail, you can't say he's reserved. If somebody doesn't speak, then you're gone. Because that is a prerequisite. You have to speak to the mall, you have to speak to the marketing, you have to speak to your team. And as you grow, people look upon you. Because if you don't speak, how do you motivate your team? There will be a time when your team will be going through the phases which are difficult. But if you don't speak, if you don't address them, then it's gone. So I think being a good leader, like good leader is a very vague term. I call it leader, but I would say people, networking is definitely something which is very much required. Networking plus you shall be able to lead your team by motivating them. That can only happen, it happens, more with as you grow, as you acquire experience, you have things to share with them and people look upon you. Then there's a problem, they will come to you. So I think networking is one thing which is very, very important, because you have to love being among the people. You have to love being solving the problem. And I think these are some of the basic skills which are required. And another important part, I think that is the eye for detail.
Okay.
So eye for detail, I'll give an example, and more for in the luxury retail. So I have got some stuff here with me which I'll tell you what is all about the luxury retail. Why it is so different. So I'll show you some of the product. I've bought some, very few one, but I still want to show it to you. So this is the pen of High Design. Okay, this High Design pen, and this is a wooden box, by the way. Okay, so as we said, we are eco-friendly brand, so it proves that again, right? And what you see, this leather, okay, this is a leather lining. This, what you see, this is again leather. Had it been any other brand, they would have put in the plastic box and made it different. Then you slide this, and there's a pen, which again has a. When you see this pen, the case, of course, it is metal, but it's covered again with.
You have to raise it higher, a bit higher. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
So what you see, this is again a leather.
All leather. Yes, yes, fantastic.
Yeah. So this makes it what High Design is known for. Known for the leather. So these kind of detailing is required. I'll give you one more example. You see, this is a sunglasses, right? We make some of the fantastic sunglasses when it comes on the styling element. But when you look at the case, this is not a normal case what you get from the optician, right?
Yes.
What you're seeing on the top is actually a sweat leather.
Sweat leather, yes.
Which makes it again a very different. And that's what you're paying for. When we say luxury, this is what makes luxury different than any other. And I got something, I don't know how many of your student or your other team member would have shot with. I'm sure they would have, but I will just show you something very different. As I said, we obviously make only the leather product. And when we say we make leather product, leather has a tendency, something what we call breathe. They need, they breathe because they're leather, they're not a plastic which will not breathe. To make them breathe and ensure that they don't get fungus, we give your bag in something this like, this is a cotton bag which is completely porous. Okay. So when I give you a bag, I don't give you a bag not even in the paper bag. I give you a bag in which you can go and keep your bag, and you keep it anywhere, because this is porous. It will allow bag to get the ventilation, and it will not spoil the bag. So that's a label of detailing we do. So small thing, those which makes it so different. And let me ask you one question. I'm not sure whether your student can answer or not. Can somebody guess how this could be used in the store?
Okay, anyone who wants to answer, please raise your hand.
This is one small question. So I'll tell you, I was talking about the detailing and what luxury retailer was. I think this gives you answer to some of your question.
Okay, anybody? At least try. At least try.
At least try. Maybe some wild guess. Okay, so these are, we call them a cushion. You know what these cushions are used? When you go to a store, you will obviously like to see the bag the way it's supposed to be placed. Okay, so when we put this, we are supposed to put this into the bag, maybe a couple of it, so bag remain firm and stand the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
If
Not
you don't put
depleted.
in,
Yeah.
yeah, so it doesn't, yeah, it's so it, it always remain in the original state the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
So that's the amount of detailing we do. If you don't use it, what will happen? It will collapse. You will not be, you can only visualize how the bag will look like, right? So that's, and we are not using, by the way, we had another option instead of this. I could have also stuffed, right? I could have used some plastic, maybe some paper or something, but we don't do that.
Okay.
So that's a small thing, which makes, I'll also show you something which is, kind of icing or the jewel in the crown for us.
Okay.
So we have something called, ostrich also. I don't know how many of you have seen this collection. So we have a collection called Atelier collection, which has a very exotic leather, which is from the ostrich and the deer leather. So what you see here, this is made out of the ostrich leather, which is imported from South Africa.
Ostrich leather.
Ostrich leather.
Okay,
you can see these dots.
Yeah.
You can see these dots.
Yes.
These dots are what we call quill, and these are mark of the, when you pluck the feather.
Yeah.
These are the original
Yes. Okay.
So this is ostrich leather, right? So this ostrich leather, now you can see the brass, all this fitting I was talking about, they're all made in our own factory.
Procured from Africa?
Yeah, this is all from the Africa. And again, all from the authorized vendor, authorized supplier, so we don't end up in a mess there.
Okay.
Right? And this is supposed to be an evening bag, which has a sling on it. And and likewise, so when we are selling all this, likewise, I have one more deer bag, and we give a different kind of box for this, which makes it very different from the rest of the bag. Okay. Now, another point when we attend the customers, so as I said in the beginning, so there's a difference being, there's something called, value for money, or, there's a perceived value, and there's being expensive. So we keep, coaching our team also. We keep telling them, you should not, you should never ever use these two words. One is called cheap, other one is called expensive. The reason behind it. So when, let's say today I'm selling this bag for about 20,000, 25,000 is the bag. Okay. When we tell customers, so immediately he will think, it comes in. So when we have to propose to somebody, so my guy says, sir, we tell them that this is the most expensive bag. The moment you say expensive bag means you are overcharging somebody. So the best way when we retail, when it comes to luxury retail, we always say the premium.
Yes, that point has been noted. Yes.
Yeah. So it has always be seen to be premium, never.
It's a very good selling technique. So if you have to sell something, use the word premium, never say expensive. So again, it gives a positive reinforcement to the customer too. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Because the moment you say expensive, and expensive is always used for something which is being overpriced, you're being charged more than what is worth.
Expensive का सीधा मतलब ये पैसा बर्बाद हो रहा है.
Yeah, you agree, Siddharth?
Value proposition.
So now I'm coming on the second word, what you actually taken it. Yeah. So when we say, if I have to propose this bag, actually it's not. So how do we propose? So I always tell my team, when you're proposing to customer, please tell them the same bag in other brand will cost you 40,000 rupees. In our high design, this is an initiative under affordable luxury.
Wow.
So we say it is affordable luxury. Hence we are selling it for 20,000.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's cheap. I'm still not saying cheaper than Fala brand. I'm still saying other brand will sell 40,000, but I'm selling for 25,000 because a part of initiative as an affordable luxury. Okay. Or value for money. So I think these are, and all this doesn't come overnight. Obviously, you learn all this over a period of time. But these are small things, because see, if you're selling somebody a bag or 30,000, 20,000, or 15,000, or something which maybe or 5,000 odd, somebody has to make him understand what that makes it so different. Yes. And that is what I said. Detailing is the key in the retail, and more than retail in the luxury retail.
Okay, great.
You have to make them understand. Yeah, make them understand why it is priced likewise.
Now, this is a skill which maybe being an academic too, I like to translate in the terms. So this is it. First of all, whatever you say, all the word, the choice of the word, and how you present your merchandise, that makes all the difference. If you give a negative reinforcement, expensive. How to make it positive? Premium. Then again, giving it a subtle thing. It's premium, something for your aspiration, something desirable, but it is getting affordable. It is comparable. I think this thing was also very well done, not in the luxury segment, but on the slightly a high-end segment for shoes, Woodlands. Being an Indian brand, they've done a fantastic job. And even brands like Caterpillar could not make it inroad, challenging the market share of Woodland, and they still remain and they rule.
Absolutely, correct. Fully agree with you.
So it was fantastic, Vijayan, meeting you after such a long time, and fantastic insights into a hitherto untouched territory. So
Yeah.
I think this was a little start with a tiptoe into the luxury segment and become into a complete, you could say, a trip around and a very educational trip for our students. So
So
thanks a
last time,
lot. And
I think
before we close, just have a small question answer session. Any of the attendees here, if you want anything, please raise or please. Uh, I'll just unmute you so that you can ask the question. Or alternatively, if you want to type the question, you can type in on the chat.
and meanwhile I can also show you. We also made the we also made this mask. Yeah.
अच्छा, ये भी
These are
नजर
high
आ रहा
design. These are high design masks, and when how we are present to the customer, it comes in this muslin bag again.
Is it a leather mask?
So it's not a leather mask, but it has a detailing of leather. It has got a
वो
everybody
थोड़ा
sees
ज्यादा
the
हो जाता
leather.
है अगर mask leather का हो तो
Mask to leather, so you can breathe also. But it has
ज्यादा हो
got
जाता है
five.
थोड़ा.
But it's got a 5 filter instead of normal 2 or 3 filter.
Okay,
It's
okay.
got 5 filter plus it's got a string also. So you
Great.
have a flexibility of that making it whatever way you feel it.
So any
again,
questions? बच्चा लोग? Any of the seniors, any of the faculty, anybody? Or you seem to be too spellbound by whatever you heard? I think nobody, कोई नहीं, सब चुप शांति. Good. So I think either we only do things.
Meantime, I would just suggest them. I think we are a very, very interesting brand with a lot of stories. So please do log in and do follow us on the Insta, and you will find that our designs are very, very subtle, but they're very, very unique. Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn. Please do like us and follow us. And trust me, there will be a lot of enriching experience you will find. As I said, we are a very niche brand. You will find we don't use too much, when it comes there. Visually itself, they're so appealing and strong. They speaks a lot. So we don't use much of a content in terms of the language, but whatever we speak, they're very powerful, and you will really find them very, very interesting. So please do follow us in all the all this chat.
Yeah, they will follow you, and maybe I'll be sending them over to for internships too, because we have got a different system. Our last semester in BBA and MBA, all 6 months are internship, apart from the internship in first year also, so that either they get absorbed in the same company if they perform well, or they become masters of one particular trade. That is how we are different from others. So yes, we will be, and most probably as one of few of our top students interested in luxury retail, maybe we end up as the interns with you, and maybe they interact more. They walk out as your brand ambassadors. God knows what is going to happen in the future.
Sure.
So thanks a lot, and I'll just invite Dr. Mateen just to with a little few words of thanks, because Dr. Yogita had to leave because of a meeting. So Mateen, please.
I really would like to say, sir, it was really nice. You can say discussion. I would say discussion. It was not a session actually. It was a discussion wherein
between two friends, it's never
It's never
it's always
a discussion or chat rather. That is what the name of the show is. Retail Talks in
Retail Talk, right. The word talk itself says that yes,
candidly,
it's a talk.
and candidly, Siddharth,
Yes.
Candidly.
Very candid. Very candid, no formality, no nothing. Because
that's what I'm
then
saying.
the students don't learn what they're supposed to. Because here the thing is, see, if you want to skill them, you don't have to actually fascinate them. You have to facilitate them. That's the best way to do it. That's what I understand.
I really request Mr. Vijender to associated with us, because your inputs are highly valuable, and we definitely would love to continue such valuable series with you, wherein we may have our students from next month of our 3rd semester and 5th semester students with us. So if you allow us, definitely we would love to continue such a series with second phase, or you can say a part 2 of it, wherein your valuable thoughts can definitely bring some changes, or I must say that your thoughts may bring some ideas to the new aspirants into the retail domain, right? So on behalf of Symbiosis University, sir, I would like to thank your precious time which you have actually given to us, and it was really nice session which we have with you, and we wish you all the best for your future. Thank you very much for your time.
Maybe I'm going to trouble you again, Vijay, once, because we have certain things coming up, because I was actually thinking very good idea, Matinji, that there could be actual case studies, real life skill assignment coming from experts like this, which we give in this particular session, then we evaluate the students on them, both digital marketing students and retail marketing.
Right.
Fantastic suggestion. Thanks a lot, and we look more alike because dono ke baal safed ho gaye, and mostly we will meet soon. And a very, very fantastic meeting after a long time. And I hope the next interval, the next time we would be after such a long period. So do plan a trip to if you want to come down
Sure.
to Indore. And
Yeah. So thank you very much, all the students, and I think all the faculty member and Siddharth for having me here. It's really been a pleasure coming here. And I said for the last 45 minutes, I felt so young being among the youngsters. Thank you very much.
carry
Thank
the
you very
accent.
much.
Carry the
Thank you.
accent. Okay.
Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Really
Thank-
appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.